on the night. All right, 15 seconds to go in regulation. Celtics down by 3. Jason Tatum, and that's good for 3. We're tied at 97. This one goes to overtime in OT, under 2 ticks to go. Celtics down 3. Kemba's shot is blocked by Kawhi. Clippers hold on to win 107-104. So the big duo didn't dominate, but they got the win. Here's Paul George after the game.
I thought it was good. You know, I thought defensively that came natural, that came easy, and then offensively, I thought we were great. I thought we are still trying to get in sync with everybody else. Great thing about myself and Kawhi, you know, it doesn't matter. We're gonna play basketball. We're gonna, you know, try to make the right plays and play off one another and just keep the game flowing. So. I thought in that aspect, we were good.
A lot of storylines in this one, but of course all eyes were on Kawhi and Paul George, who were playing their first game together. Yep. They haven't had much practice together at all. Before we get to how they looked last night, are these two the best duo in the NBA right now?
At full strength, at their best, if you're going to get a full-strength Kawhi Leonard and a full-strength Paul George, I still don't think that's the best duo in basketball. I think it's LeBron James and Anthony Davis, and I think Harden and Russ, if Russ can get back to anywhere close to pre-Rocket Russ, they would be in the conversation as well. But right now, with whatever's going on with Kawhi Leonard, and I don't know what's going on with Kawhi Leonard, to me it's not even a discussion. You can't have the reason they would be in the discussion for the best duo in basketball is if you have 2 top 10 players in the league. And where is Kawhi Leonard right now when he plays? Forget the fact that he hadn't played since last Wednesday. In the month of November, he missed the game before Halloween, then he played on Halloween, and he was sensational. He scored 38 points. The month of November, he hasn't had a single game where he has shot better than 42% from the field. Last night was a game where he seemed totally out of gas by the 4th quarter. They had limited his minutes all through the first 3 quarters. Now, they didn't expect the overtime, obviously, but even with the 5 minutes overtime, he only played 37 minutes, which means played 32 in the first 4 quarters. And in the 4th quarter in overtime, he was what? 4 points, 1 rebound, 1 assist, 2 of 7 from the field. He did make the block at the very end of the game, which was good because the 2 previous possessions, he fell asleep on defense and Tatum got a dunk to cut it to 3, and then he let Marcus Smart essentially steal the ball from him on the sideline. I don't know what's going on with the reigning finals MVP. He didn't look right last night. He clearly isn't right because he missed 3 consecutive basketball games. Not just load management, but something is going on with his lower body ailments.
They're calling he had some like leg contusion or something, but they are very vague with what they're saying.
And for 3 years now, there's been vagaries surrounding the health of Kawhi Leonard. But as excellent as Paul George is, and even if you say, well, in the playoffs, Kawhi is going to be fine, but then you have to realize in the playoffs, that's when historically Paul George's play has dropped off from what he is in the regular season. So no, that's a very long way to say no.
Not the best duo in the league.
They're not right now even close to the best duo in the city of Los Angeles, Greg.
I'm with you. Obviously, the duo that everyone wants to say is the best duo, or I'm going to speak for me, is LeBron and Anthony Davis. However, this question is so thought-provoking because it's like you mentioned, the potential that Kawhi Leonard has if he is fully healthy and we see him become the Kawhi Leonard that we know he's capable of doing. We saw it in the finals. We saw it in that playoff run last year. This duo can be lights out, and they are because they go both ways. They play on the offensive end, and then we saw last night what they provided defensively. Like, they are lethal defensively as wing players, but I just don't see them matching up with a guy like Anthony Davis, who, if he played his natural position of 4 and they went just 2-on-2, forget all other 3 guys,
right.
Just 2-on-2, it's LeBron and Anthony Davis, no questions.
Well, and the reason, and to me, if we, going into the year, you looked at the best player on the Lakers is LeBron, the best player on the Lakers, or the Clippers is Kawhi, and then Paul George and Anthony Davis is second best right now. You got a major problem if you're the Clippers, because right now the Lakers' second best guy, Anthony Davis, is playing better, way better than your best guy is supposed to be. So if this were a 2-on-2 pickup, the first two picks would be LeBron and Anthony Davis. And so before you got to, and right now, and again, maybe he is hurt. And I have to acknowledge that the only reason you'd miss 3 games in November in a row is if you are hurt. And so I have to bake that into it to a degree. But right now, Kawhi is the 4th best player in the city of Los Angeles. I got crap last week for saying after they lost to Harden, he was the 4th best player in the NBA. He's shooting 35% this month in the limited games he has played. Now, Paul George is reminding everyone why he was 3rd in the MVP balloting, 3rd in Defensive Player of the Year balloting last year, that he was that level of player all last season. He came out absolutely gangbusters his first couple games without Kawhi Leonard, and he was good, not great. He was good last night against a very good Celtics defense, but something's off with the reigning Finals MVP, and that question has to be answered before the Clippers are discussed as not only a championship favorite, but as you asked, the best duo in basketball.
I don't think we're going to figure out exactly what's going on with Kawhi Leonard. We haven't known what's going on with Kawhi Leonard since he had a quad issue when he played for the Spurs. But these two together were supposed to be battling what's going on in Brooklyn, what's going on with the Lakers as the best duo. We didn't get much of a sample size last night. It's only been 1 game. If Kawhi can play more, could they together be 2 of the best, the tandems in the league?
They could be one of the best tandems in the league. I still don't think they trump LeBron and Anthony Davis. And what makes them so intriguing, and I know we're talking about Kawhi and his what-ifs, but let's focus on Paul George. Paul George is a special basketball player.
And we've seen it already.
Like, and we know what his potential is. He's been the #1 option in Indiana. Then he went over to OKC, played a role that had him #2, but kind of then submerging as the #1 option. So his ability to adapt to stars around him and still get his and be effective on both ends of the floor, it's not many players can do that, and you can't ask many star players to do what Paul George has been able to do his last few years.
Listen, Paul George is a superstar, and Kawhi's bona fides are well established. Last night, though, it was Lou Williams and Pat Beverly that saved him. It was Lou Williams and Pat Beverly that scored, 14 of their 20 points in clutch time in the 4th quarter or in overtime. And it was, you saw, and Paul George was the best Clipper last night, but you saw him get crossed to the ground by Jason Tatum right before we got to overtime. And then Pat Beverly, to his credit, a guy who's known for the defensive end, not the offensive end, hit 2 enormous threes. Lou Williams hit a 3 to put him up late in the 4th quarter. And so, like, the supporting cast of the Clippers is a good one. Not a great one, but a good one, particularly those 2 guys plus Montrezl Harrell. But when we're talking about the best duos right now, until the Kawhi Leonard we saw the first 2 weeks of the season and the Kawhi Leonard we saw in the playoffs reemerges, Harden and Russ are a better duo. Giannis and Chris Middleton are a better duo. Hell, the way my adult Slovenian son Luka Doncic is playing, Luka plus whomever you want to call the second best Maverick is a better duo at the moment, because what is going on with Kawhi Leonard? He played 22 minutes through the first 3 quarters last night so he could have that 4th quarter surge that he was doing early in the year. From the 4th quarter and overtime, he's 2 of 7 from the field, 0 for 4 from 3, and you could not feel his impact on the game until, to his credit, he got the block in the corner on the final shot of the game. Something's off with him. And even if you've been skeptical of Kawhi as the best player in basketball as I've been, no one's been skeptical that he's a top 5 player in the league. And since Halloween, he has looked nothing like it in the rare times he's actually played.
So much for my 3rd question. Is this a potential finals preview? We'll have to